Hello! Since I'm doing this daily, I've made another one. Yippee! Routine-wise, I've kept things up. I've ran, and I made video. So I'm really just killing it in that department. But something more pressing that I wanted to speak on is the death of Ivan Ilyich, a masterful short story on death. I read it recently, and it's quite real, it's quite raw, of how Ivan, our main character, is dead, and his experience of it. Something that, really resonated with me was the idea that he needed to find the real thing at the end of his life. And he was looking at everything he had up until that point and found that none of it was the real thing. The introduction poses that the real thing is love, and seeing that he was not surrounded by any love of any kind, simply people who, transactionally worked with him, very formal, never really going out of their way to do anything, simply doing whatever pleased them at the moment. And I like the idea that the real thing is love, but I think it's more complex than that, because I think there's more to life than love, of course, and his real thing is more complex than that. The way that I see it, it's like truth, I guess. Love is honest, and I think he's searching for truth, and he found none of it in his life. Everything he lived was a lie. So whenever he was searching for the real thing, he could never find any of it. Because he lived his life trying to find whatever's tasteful and pleasurable and avoiding what is not that. The introduction also says, speaks on how death is just a formality. And I think this is something that's very, I don't know if profound is the right word, but it's the truth, pretty much, because people are easily distracted, and so if you just take death away from their daily lives, then they have no reason to really be in conflict with it. If death is relegated to some place where the deathly die, then it's easy to escape it. But that's what makes it formal, is because when it's whenever it's one's time for death, then they are taken to that place, whether it's a hospital or a nursing home. If they're elderly, it's somewhere where they can just die alone, or solemnly comforted by, the nurses and doctors that also are living in this formal state where they transactionally tell you and comfort you that it's going to be all right, and death is natural. But nobody wants to hear that. They want to be comforted on a real level, to be honest and true. And so it really strikes me as something grander. Leo is really into Christianity and stuff, and so when writing it, he had all these like Christian pretenses on death and the afterlife and whatever's beyond that. And something that I am wanting to do to like comfort myself from the idea of death is to try and discover if it really is true that time is circular in a sense, and maybe that will let me be okay with the idea that I'm going to die. Other truths, like beyond death being a formality, is the like egotistical part of it, that your ego is not going to pass on, I guess, or that you're going to stop your current experience. And everything that your like ego does, everything that is human nature really, is to try and be in alignment with yourself. And death is the complete disalignment of yourself. So that's a great reason that it is feared so much, because it goes against the human nature of wanting to be consistent with yourself. And the consistency is something that can be broken down with religions. They make your consistency of oneself to be grander than just you. It's all of nature, or God, or more like spirituality sense of ego. And that's really what drives everything and everyone, is trying to be consistent with themselves. That's why it's so hurtful for like, you feel the pains of rejection, or you try and defend an argument you don't even believe in just because someone took the other side. That's you trying to be consistent with yourself and not breaking that consistency. It's something that drives everyone. Anyways, toodles.